taking place in pretty much modern day Japan, in which there simultaneously exists a alternate reality, the dream world. While it's not exactly Kruger's playground, it is inhabited by dream demons. I wouldn't say it's the most fitting name for the protagonist in this series, but I guess that's using logic, which probably isn't the best idea. The whole nature of this show is actually very unique, and depending on what you have been watching recently, you'll most likely enjoy it, provided you can look past the fairly prevalent moe aspect in the series. It hits you like a bullet sometimes. It wasn't extremely distracting in the long run. I mean, when this show wants to be, it can be over-the-top badass. From the choreography of the fight scenes to the orgasmic reoccurring theme, it just blended to make a fairly decent climax. There were parts of this show which I really thought were the tits. The downside to this is that these moments are few and far between, and while the series does have a semi-good structure, in the long run it does take some time to adjust to because the focus points seem to jump like a kangaroo on steroids. This led to the ending being fairly crap, although I'll be honest, endings are something which anime tends to cock up, so provided that you can settle with that, and that you have a tolerance to the moe factor, because it's thrown at you more than product placement in pop music nowadays, you'll probably enjoy it. Dreams are something which I feel are underexploited as a plot point, so watching something fresh, even if it wasn't exactly what I was expecting, it was a fun watch, and of course, that's what it's all about. This was a high point for the series. You could tell they spent a good deal of time designing the characters. Now, that's not saying they're not cliche, but when you think about it, pretty much everything is nowadays. We have two main protagonists, both built very solidly from the ground up. Mary Nightmare, what a name, although previously mentioned, is a purposely cute character. However, she can really kick ass when she wants to. I'm serious, in some of the fight scenes it felt like she'd been ripped out of Tekken. So she's a moe badass, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm not a fan of that. Because in the vast amount of anime, the moe character is more often than not just a pussy that is there to fuck all the people over who can actually fight. Bitches. So again, it led to the whole feeling of this show being different. The main male protagonist is also a good character. He's not a retard when it comes to interacting with girls, something which generally puts me off. He's not a penis, which again most of the time is a turn off. As you can tell, the whiny bitch character cliche is not my favourite. The look of these characters also fits well, especially Mary, who looks like she's been ripped from an alternate reality, which of course she has. I find it hard to remember all of the supporting cast, which kinda says it all. Most of them, apart from one of two, were just stereotypical insides wrapped in good, but sometimes creepy skins. Not particularly fantastic, but something I could look past. I said in my first reaction that it reminded me of Soul Eater, one of my all-time favourite shonens, just behind FMA. However, I will admit I might have gone a little bit over the top. It's a good fitting look for the show, but it only really peaks during fight scenes. However, like I said earlier, the fight scenes are quality material. The whole look of John Doe, most of the dream demons actually felt authentic and magical in a dark kind of way, except Mary, which I think is because they're trying to contrast her by symbolising her as a lot more upbeat and fun than the other dream demons. The opening is also a good opening. The song created a good effect for the show, especially if it was bridging onto a fight scene, because it took you up to the pinnacle of this series. I'm pretty sure I've made it clear that I think this show has a very good opening song, but to be honest, not the best soundtrack. I would probably never listen to it by itself. It is a intensifier that works with the series. It's two-sided in nature, though not as good as Madoka, and the opening song is what jumps out as a highlight. It may not be as good as the Madoka soundtrack by far, like I said, but it does what it is there to do. Now, you have the option to watch this show dubbed or subbed. It is done by Sentai Filmworks. My views are pretty much the same as anyone else on them. Surprisingly, though, it is solidly good. With a few exceptions, the moe voices are something which dubs can never seem to crack, but Sentai have actually done it on this show. I did not watch it in sub, however my analysis is that it is also watchable without it spoiling any of the other aspects. That rounds up this review of Dreamy Tamari. Based on all the factors in this video, I have calculated a mean score of. I'm going to recommend this, but only to certain people who scratch more than the surface in anime. This is a show that is generally a fun ride, so if you are a fan of magical / alternate reality storylines, this show is at least worth checking out, and if you want my recommendation on an alternate series, go and watch Madoka Magica. This always seems to pop up, but there is a reason. It has got to be the best magical show I've ever seen, and don't just take my word for it. Also, I want to give a shout out to the people over at MVM, the official distributors of Dreamy Tamari in the UK. Other than that, I have been Russ, or the Anime Planet. Make sure you subscribe to get more content just like this. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter, all the links will be in the description. Now go and have a great night or day. Also, cheers to 200 subs. You bastards actually like me.